Fewer flights will be allowed to take off around America's busiest airports as the government shutdown grinds on. Thanks for staying up with us. I'm Kyle Clark.
I'm Kim Christensen. The FAA will start cutting the number of flights it allows on Friday. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the agency will reduce air traffic by 10% across 40 high-volume markets. He says it's to maintain safety, as air traffic controllers have been working without pay since the shutdown began over a month ago. Duffy did not say which airports would be impacted, though DIA was ranked as the third busiest in North America last year. The list is expected to be released sometime tomorrow. DIA is asking the FAA for permission to pay its air traffic controllers. The airport wants to use its own revenue to make payroll and then get reimbursed by the government.
So as airport leaders wait for their answer from the feds on that, 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj shows us how they are already offering support to employees.
We have non-perishable food items, pet food, baby supplies.
All collected over the last 2 days.
We put a plan together at the end of last week.
A plan to help feed federal aviation workers still on the job, unpaid.
We know that affording the everyday expenses of life and even just getting to the airport will be more and more challenging for the 1,800 or so federal workers who work at DEN.
On Wednesday, the airport sent a request to the Federal Aviation Administration asking whether airport revenue could be used to pay air traffic controllers. They're also looking to be reimbursed by the federal government for covering those wages once the shutdown is over. We reached out to the FAA but haven't heard back.
It's a challenging time, you know, this food pantry is an expression of our gratitude and support for federal workers.
They're also accepting monetary donations and gift cards you can drop off at the airport. Right now, it's other airport employees who've been stocking these shelves. The hope is that by appealing to the public, they'll stay stocked for as long as it's needed.
For their commitment to this airport and to our operations, and to help make this difficult moment hopefully a little more bearable.
So to recap, non-perishable food, toiletries, it's all being collected by the airport. They tell us that they are looking to keep this pantry open throughout the duration of this shutdown. Reporting from Denver International Airport, Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
It was a nice end to the day around the metro area. We're expecting similar conditions tomorrow. A little more wind, which could create some potential fire danger in the foothills. It's so dry.
We can't just skip from today into tomorrow, though. We'd miss the moon, Kathy.
That's right. And that moon is very important to a lot of us. You can't see it from this view, but it's spectacular. And a lot of people have been sending in pictures of that full moon tonight. And it was a nice day today, a beautiful evening. And tomorrow, the wind is increasing ahead of a storm that might bring a little bit of light mountain snow. Check out this shot of the moon. This coming in from Superior tonight. Della Cervantes with that. So pretty out there. Temperature's pretty comfortable. 48 at the studios, 52 at DIA, 30s in the mountains. And we've been watching the wind picking up just a little bit around Monument Hill and pretty gusty over Loveland Pass. But the winds will be increasing as a little piece of energy comes into Colorado ahead of this main trough, which is still off to the west of us. Denver stays dry and temperatures will be comfortable, but maybe, just maybe, a little snow for our northern mountains. So 40s overnight, upper 60s again tomorrow. Elevated fire danger a prime concern, but we'll have much more on the chance for snow up north. And of course, the football game tomorrow night. The I keep saying the Radars because I'm a weather person. The Raiders are in town, and I will have that forecast for you coming up.
A teenager is dead and several others are hurt after a terrible crash in the Eastern Plains. Colorado State Patrol says it happened just before noon today on Highway 385, about a mile and a half north of Burlington. Troopers say a Ford with 5 teens inside was stopped on the northbound side of the highway, waiting to make a left turn. They say a 21-year-old woman driving a Jeep rear-ended the Ford, sending both cars into a field. CSP says a 17-year-old in the back seat of the Ford was killed. The other 4 were hospitalized, one of them with critical injuries. The driver of the Jeep was taken to the hospital as well. She's since been released.
There is help coming in northern Colorado for people living on the streets. City of Greeley just agreed to expand its shelter operations. United Way Weld County's Housing Navigation Center is the only overnight shelter option in Greeley. Right now, it only offers beds in the cold winter months, so November to April or so. 2026, it'll be open all year after the city of Greeley voted to fund an expansion in its budget.
When folks have those basic needs met, right, they know where they're going to be able to get a shelter bed in the evening. Then in the morning, after a good night's rest, after a warm, delicious meal, they're that much more able to focus and think about things like an apartment search or working on their resume or making it to their doctor's appointment on time.
Northern Colorado has fewer shelter beds these days after a fire damaged the Fort Collins Rescue Mission's main shelter in August. The city of Loveland also closed its only overnight shelter for adults last month. City leaders then decided to keep a temporary shelter up and running at the Loveland Resource Center through March, though that space does not have as much room.
The man accused of killing a woman and injuring about a dozen others in an anti-Semitic firebombing attack in Boulder is set to go on trial in July. Today, a court hearing for Muhammad Solomon entered a not guilty plea for the charges he faces at the state level, and the judge set a trial date. Solomon was arrested after the attack on a group of people who were peacefully marching to raise awareness of Israeli hostages being held in Gaza. He faces an automatic life sentence without parole if convicted on the first-degree murder charge. He's also facing charges at the federal level. He's pleaded not guilty those as well and is currently set for trial on those charges in June.
The Aurora City Council member who made national news for claiming there was a complete gang takeover by immigrants in her city was just voted out of office as Democrats swept Republicans in Aurora. Danielle Drinsky conceded her race today. She finished third behind progressive challengers Rob Andrews and Allie Jackson. She was one of two conservative incumbents to lose her seat. Andrews admitted to us he was actually surprised to win against long odds and a huge disadvantage in terms of fundraising and name recognition.
You know, when you're running a race, a campaign, I want to be honest, the incumbents always have the advantage, and they outraised us by a lot.
Drinsky raised $258,000 to Andrews' $50,000, Jackson's $20,000. Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman, Republican, compared the outcome to 2017 when liberals started to gain some ground on city council after President Trump was first elected.
Tonight, the Broncos are giving us our first glimpse of what the area around their potential new stadium site could look like. The team says they want to preserve some of the rail yard's past, turning the old locomotive shop into a community hub and reusing features like the rail turntable as focal points around the site. They say the goal is to make the area more than just parking lots, using nearby bike paths and expanding the 10th and Osage light rail stop, as well as other areas of transportation. The plan went out just hours after voters approved funding for repairs near Burnham Yard, which is the Broncos, as they say, just a coincidence.
I mean, what phenomenal timing, right? Last night, voters approved the money for the projects they wanted, then today they roll out the plans. Sometimes life just comes together for you, you know? 9 News reporter Rhea Jha's out there for us tonight after talking with folks about this project. Rhea?
Yeah, the new Broncos Stadium is supposed to be built up to this street. We're in the La Alma Lincoln Park neighborhood. And if you think about all the other arenas in Denver, you think about the current Broncos Stadium, Ball Arena, where there's a game night going on tonight. It's a mess. There's traffic. And that's what neighbors around here are thinking their quiet neighborhood is going to turn into. So the Broncos submission to the city is a preliminary development application. It outlines a possible stadium footprint at Burnham Yard and formally begins the city's review process. Some homeowners we spoke with see the upside. They expect property values to rise if the area is rebuilt. Other people who've lived here for a while worry a new stadium will mean higher rents and more traffic.
Well, since growing up here, originally there was a bunch of projects, and then they tore those down, and then they built the new apartments you see now. So with this new redevelopment, it's gonna be the same, like kicking out the old residents and then raising the rent, getting like a new crowd of people.
The neighborhood actually did have a community meeting tonight where members voiced concerns about economic impacts and wanted traffic studies. So those conversations are supposed to start at the city's open house on November 19th. Reporting live in Denver, Rhea Jha, 9 News.
A reminder, our 9 Cares Colorado Shares Drive is happening now. It runs through December 7th. We're teaming up with King Soopers and local food banks to raise money for Coloradans facing food insecurity. Our goal is to raise $750,000 this year. That's enough for more than 2 million meals for people in need. Each dollar you donate is enough for 3 meals. You can scan this QR code and get to the donation page. You can also donate when you check out at King Soopers.